Sup nerds, I'm Wes.
I'm Tom.
We're Neverwhere Gaming, and we're taking a look at Indian Summer, the second game in the Tetris Pieces garden-themed games by Stronghold Games.
Well, not garden themed. This is just leaves.
Just
nature themed.
Nature-themed. So in Indian Summer, you are hiking your way through the woods, foraging for berries and nuts, and seeing what animals you can find. And so you're taking these leaf pieces, and each person, you're not drafting them. You have like your personal, ones to pick from, and you pick out of those, and you place and cover up the floor. And it introduces the circles in the little Tetris pieces that you can see through. When you put them on the board, you want to put them such that you are leaving the mushrooms and the berries and the feathers exposed, because then you get to put the token on it to say it's visible. And once you fill up one of the 6 sections of the board, you get to collect all of the things that you covered but left the circle overexposed, and you can use each of those to do special abilities throughout the game.
So those are called treasures, and those aren't points in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So it even says in the rule book, remember that they're not points. So sometimes I'll find myself focusing on them a little too much and be like, I can't put that there because I won't cover the treasure. I can't put that there because I won't cover the treasure. Well, those treasures do help you, and there are definitely times when I'm like, oh, I wish I had this treasure so I could draw right now so I could get that tile.
Mm-hmm.
They're really not the aim of the game, so don't focus on them.
And I think the rule books put it best too when they said like it's really good to get them. So like don't worry if you cover one up, but it's not like in Cottage Garden where you're like, I am actively losing points the more of these I cover up.
Mm-hmm.
However, you want them, but don't hoard them. Like, you want to spend them as much as possible to do as many things. Now, they are good at the end of the game because if you don't fill your board up, you can use them to finish your board out and things like that. But like Tom said, they're not the point of the game.
The point of the game is to cover up as much of the board as you possibly can. First one to do that will trigger endgame, and also the holes themselves kind of sort of count as not being covered up, because if you can line them up together and create shapes with those holes, you can then cover them up with these tiles that are like creatures that are all kind of sectioned out here. And if you can do these big shapes like a square or this T or whatever, you get to put these on there. And honestly, that seems really tough. Yeah. Really hard to do. Like, I just made a 3-1, which is the easiest one over here, without, while we're just chilling here doing it. And I was like, that was hard to do.
And I will say that, when we were playing, I was trying really hard. One of my thought processes was, I want to get the treasures, but more than that, I want to create the shape such that I get these. But the only thing those do is they give you all of those treasures again. So you want to be able to place them such that the really good treasures, like the mushrooms and the feathers, are exposed, that you get those again. But you could easily go the whole game and never get those and be perfectly fine. I think that it's a cool thing to add.
Yeah, but if your board is full and my board is full, but I have these, my board is more full.
True. So it is a good tiebreaker in that, or a way to get ahead.
Yeah.
But you're much better off filling your board faster than just trying to get these, because it is a whole turn to get that. You are covering up places that are already covered to get extra treasures and potentially get ahead, but I could be covering up just new spots and be filling my board faster. So
you've got an L over here.
I do. I did that on purpose.
Oh.
So, it's good to get them, and if you have the opportunity to get them, I would go for it. But don't focus too much on that.
Another thing I do like about this game is the different tile sizes are different colors. Greens are 3s, oranges are 4s, and reds are 5s. And now that I'm saying that...
Oh, look at that.
You really don't remember that?
I noticed that greens were smaller. I just didn't look at that as a specific number.
Now that I'm saying this, I'm wondering if maybe that's also true in, Cottage Garden. Because they are a lot of different colors. But
it's more noticeable in this game.
Yeah, because it's just 3.
Yeah.
In Cottage Garden, they're all every shape is like a different thing.
Some of them are tables, and some of them are flowers.
So I'm doubting that that's a thing.
This is definitely a much prettier, in my opinion, than Cottage Garden.
Oh, yeah,
because, fall leaves are just prettier. There's a reason people drive. We live in Florida, so colors don't change here. But there's a reason that people here, take a drive through the mountains in the fall because all the leaves are changing and it's beautiful.
Now we live in Florida now, but I used to live in Maryland, so
Gross. I'm sorry.
Oof.
That's
So I have like a personal connection to this because I used to love seeing the leaves. Like it was like a thing when I was younger, and gardens don't do it for me. So, this is the theme that I can connect with the most. The cottage garden one.
Being in the woods, hiking.
Yeah. Having a
acorns.
backpack, having pieces placed next to my backpack.
I will say this game can get a little trickier too because in both Cottage Garden and Spring Meadow, you're less like stuck. In this game, when you get to the end of your board and you have pieces that you get to a point, you're like, this piece will not fit on my board. And I actually looked up in Board Game Geek, like, what happens if I can't place it? And Board Game Geek just said, plan better next time.
Yeah.
So, like, you can get your area filled up a little bit.
Well, I mean, so, like, that'll happen in Cottage Garden, but there's less planning in it because of the draft. You're drafting things there, and it could be like nothing in this row will fit here.
But you don't have a personal player pool.
That's exactly
this
what I'm
tournament
saying.
stuck. But in this game, if you get 2 or 3 pieces that you can't place on your board, they're there, and your pool to choose from is always going to be smaller now. And the only way to refill it is by spending berries.
Right, and if you don't have any berries, then you're truly screwed. I mean, you can always take a squirrel, but that is such a last-ditch effort.
Yeah.
So, they're right. Plan better. Because, and that's probably my biggest complaint about this game is that it doesn't have drafting. It has stealing from another player, so there's player interaction.
And that's only a complaint because the other 2 games in the series do. If this was a standalone game, it wouldn't have even come up.
I wouldn't think about it. In comparison.
Yeah.
But I really do like this one. It is the most complex, and that's probably why I like it. Mm-hmm. But it's also probably why it will hit the table not as often because it's complex.
It's the people you can play it with is more limited, right? And
my mom won't know.
The complexity is why this one is my favorite amongst the 3, and we'll talk more about that in our comparison video. But I did like it was complex. It was thinkier. It was tighter. Like in the other games, you're racing and you're filling things up. But in this game, I really felt the crunch. I really felt like I was getting ahead when I filled up a section first because I'm one of 6 section, one more of the 6 completed to winning the game, not just I got the points before you did.
I agree with Wes that this is probably my favorite in this series, and as I'm saying this, it's like there's like just no new information you're going to get from watching that comparison video. The only thing I would say is if you haven't played any of them, maybe buy Spring Meadow first. Because it is a bit easier to get.
But it's complex enough to catch your interest.
Yeah, it's better than Cottage Garden, but it's complex enough to catch your interest, and it has the Tetris style thing of filling up from the bottom up. So a lot of people, it'll like click a lot faster than trying to just fill this board. You won't know to go to the edge and it go across. You might just start filling up the middle and then find yourself getting stuck.
The thing that this game that I think that the other games don't have, and I guess they don't need, is the double-sided of a lot of the components. Like the backpack, one side is a thematic, it's a backpack, it looks good. The other side is a player aid. So when you're starting off, you can use the player aid to remember what's going on. As you play it more and you want to be more thematic, you can make it a backpack. All the treasures are the same way. One side of the treasure is a nice sketched picture of that thing. It looks semi-realistic, and it adds to the beauty of the board. The other side is a very like black and white with a colored background picture of the thing that makes it really easy to see what things are. So I think it works really well in that your first game, hey, use these things. It's really easy to keep track of what's what. You remember what's going on. But as you play it more and as the rules become more second nature to you, you can use the more beautiful side of it. Because in all of these games, I do think that the aesthetic qualities are one of the important things to the game.
I kind of do wish that was an option for the player boards. I wish it was these easy to see nuts and then the more realistic nuts, but it's not. But
and the way it is, it just gives you more variability in the boards, but I completely agree with that.
Could have just done double-sided like that and more boards, but then cost goes up, so I get it. But anyways, if any of what we were talking about sounds interesting to you, we're going to have a purchase link to this and all of that and a bunch of other stuff on Amazon. Go ahead and grab yourself a copy.
And while you're down there, don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you'll never be bored. the second game in the Tetris Pieces garden-themed games by Stronghold Games.
Well, not garden themed. This is just leaves.
Just
nature themed.
nature-themed.
And it's Spring Meadow. There's no garden. Come on, man. You don't even know what a garden is.
Spring Meadow, you're clearing off your garden. You're shoveling snow away from...
You're going hiking. That's why there's the guys. That's the... Oh my god, I can't think of the word. Gophers! Oh man. You have a backpack and everything.